This next exercise, we're going to set up a target on the net. Again, setting it up on the net, not at the back, and I'll explain why. But our goal with whatever the ball machine gives me, I'm actually going to set it to a random setting now. My goal is to aim for the target that I have on the net, and then we'll bring it back here and I'll explain the thought process behind it. All right, so as you guys can see, there are now two small plastic posts that I've stuck into the net, and they are about 3 to 3.5 feet from the center, and I'm going to be trying to put my ball over the net between the window that I just made. So using that space right there, we're going to be trying to react through the post, and that's going to pre-make my decision on what I do with the ball. Okay, so as I just said, I'm going to be using these two posts right here to try and put the ball through no matter where the ball machine puts me. It's now set to a random setting, so all I'm doing is reacting to where it goes and trying to aim through the posts. Using the same stuff we talked about in the first part of this video, which is as I arrive, making sure my shoulders are lined up. My decision's already pre-made, so as I move, I'm actually trying to keep my shoulders more on a swivel to make sure that everything lines up right on arrival. And without talking, let's see how well I do. It's not going to be perfect because I'm a tennis player and none of us are perfect, but the thought process is still the same. As you arrive, your shoulders are lined up, and all you're doing is just keeping everything settled. I don't know why they're all forehands, but oh, there we go. And see, right through the post. Shoulders lined up. Not really any decision making going on. It's just smart reflexes. To the side, shoulders lined up, right through there. Shoulders lined up, right through the post. Oh, hole in the ball machine. Fire, there we go. Shoulders lined up. But as you guys can see, I put pretty much all the balls through the posts, and because my decision was already pre-made, I didn't have to think about the responses. As I'm on the move, my ball's already set on where it's going to go, which allows me to focus more on where my shoulders are. This is the smartest way to set this exercise up, but you can do this a bunch of different ways. The reason why I have it set up here is because of my original sentence of most balls are going to go cross court. So no matter where this ball machine fires the ball, my response is always somewhat cross. If it puts me on the singles line and I aim between those two posts, my ball would have to land somewhere between halfway in the side all the way out to the singles line, just based off of the general angle that the ball is going to have to travel. Now, if I take that same concept and apply it to a ball through the middle, if you guys look carefully, and I'll think I can zoom in a little bit, but if you look carefully, from right here, there's still a decent amount of space from one side to the other between the posts, even in the middle. So if I take that same concept and apply it downwind all the way, when you hit through these posts, you don't think about it like you're hitting a window like this to this. They're actually hitting a window from about here all the way to here. So there's still a good amount of forgiveness, but we're aiming in the right general vicinity of where the shot should go. And if you're doing that constantly, you're constantly not taking a risk on your responses. And then you can choose when to forego this target and go for a different target. Whole concept here is making sure that our consistency maintains by being safe and picking the right target by default, and then choosing when to go against the pattern and use a more aggressive shot or a more abnormal shot, even a drop shot. A drop shot would work, but you wouldn't really go for a drop shot through this window from way back here. So you have to wait for a specific invitation to go for these different types of shots. But anytime you're just in a general rally, keeping the ball through that window, you would be able to make sure that all of your default decision making is taken care of. And that's where your consistency kicks in. The less you have to think and the more you can react with the right decisions and the right technique to match those decisions, everything will be able to maintain longer, and it'll hold up against higher levels of pressure because you're no longer forcing yourself to think in between each shot. And all you're doing is waiting on little visual cues or things that invite you to do more. All right, guys, so for this section, we're going to be using a hitting partner. I want to preface by saying this is not part 2 of the 3-part series. This is part 2 of the first video. I wanted to do a talking portion of it and then do a completely live portion, which is what I'm going to be doing today. Today I'm going to be using the 2 net post targets that I talked about in the previous video, and I'm going to have a hitting partner, and our goal is to keep all of our shots in between the net posts targets that we put up, that'll help us focus on lining up our shoulders relative to our target. Since we don't have to think about what we're aiming for, we're just going to keep all of our shots going in between those two zones that we've created. So without talking, we're going to be using one of my students, Mia, and we'll get right into it. All right, here we go. Good ball. Nice. Great job. Got it. Hey, good ball. A little bit wide, but just a little bit. Keep it going. Good job. See where it's going? Good. Keep going. All right, so like you guys saw, a lot of good consistency there with us focusing on putting the ball in between the targets. What we're going to do now is we're going to actually get a smaller pole, which we'll use as reference instead of a hard target, because when we used the tall post, it was obvious when the ball was inside and outside. That gets you really focused in. Then when we get to the small post, which we're going to do now, that's going to be more of a relative target. We know that we're going to hit outside the post sometimes, but we're still focusing on that same general tactic of going through or close to the post in order to keep the consistency and keep the pre-decision made, and then we can line up our bodies to make the targets work. So without talking, let's get right into this last part of the video.